This is a creative nonfiction from New York Times Magazine. It is about Zhuo Yiren, who is 29 years old. He is a refugee from Congo and lives in the United States now. The main point of the article is that when Zhuo Yiren came to the United States, Jewish family service found him a place to live and also a bicycle. He rode the bicycle to work and then back home. Police stopped him a few times to ask him for ID. Then police started to know him and didn't uncheck his ID anymore. He feels the United States just like his home. So now let's analyze the article. The title is On the Way Home. When I first saw the title and the picture of a man riding a bike, I am curious what the article is about. Is it about a man riding home? And then I started to read. In the second paragraph, he mentioned that he needs to spend 8 or 10 hours on his work. That sounds like a lot of work, but he didn't complain. He is happy to meet people all around the world. And then and now he was born countless times to chill, and his family escaped war. Separated from his family, he fled to western Tanzania by boat. He waited 2 years in a refugee camp there for protection in another country, and finally he received his letter from the United States. And then he mentioned that every day when he finished his work, it is usually 3 a.m. And he described the streets from his work to his home. The streets were quiet and empty, and there were dark places without houses, just wood on both sides. He gives realistic details that can conjure emotions and images in the reader's mind. And this thing creates images in mind of reader. When I read it, I feel like I am part of that thing. And then he mentioned that one night on the way home, he was stopped by police. They asked him for his ID, but he hadn't had his temporary ID with him that night, so he gave his immigration and social security numbers. I have a strong emotion about that part because I came from China. I had to prepare a lot of documents when I came to the United States for college. I have no idea what social security number is before I came to the United States. I started to know these words when I came to America, and they seem to become the most important thing in my life. They are my identity when I in the United States. And then let's move on. He mentioned that one police asked him, "Where are you heading?" He had learned some English, but he had never heard the word heading. I have a strong emotion about that part as well, because when I first saw the sentence, I didn't know what that means, and also English is not my first language. When I talked with some people in the United States, if they speak too fast or use some weird words, I can't understand them. If they could slow down, repeat, or explain what they said, I would very appreciate. And then he said that the police asked him in French so that he can understand what's going on. It also reminds me of my own experience. I talked with if I talked to someone in English, I couldn't understand what he said. I really hope that there is someone can explain that in Chinese, and that will make me feel very warm, like home. So I bet Zhuo Eraser might have that kind of feeling as well at that moment, but it is just my own bias. And then there are a lot of conversation between him and the police. Conversations in the text can also give the reader emotion, making the text more memorable and more understandable. And then he said that he eventually saved enough money to buy a car, but in the days when he was still riding his bike, the police never bothered him again. Instead, when a police car passed by, they sometimes slowed down, turned on the light for a second, and made the little whoop sound. And that counts like a warm thing for me. And for the last sentence, he said that he started to like it when they did that. He was new to the United States, and this was a kind of hello. I have a strong sympathy with the last sentence, because I came to the United States 5 months ago, and the United States is just like a totally new environment for me. But everyone here I met are just so nice, so patient. They gave me a lot of help, which makes don't feel too much lonely. I guess maybe Java Erasing have that kind of feeling as well, but it's still my own bias. And I know a lot of people came to the United States for earning more money, getting a better education, or for a better living environment. I guess that's the reason why Joel Erasing came to the United States. It's also that kind of reason. But after I did some research, I changed my mind. First, I searched the background of Joel Erasing, and I know he came from Congo. He lost his family during the war. And then I searched some information about people's life in Congo, and I was shocked by this information because in Congo, many people have been killed and no one is ever punished. Then I searched information about the United Nations Refugee Agency, and I know the United Nations Refugee Agency is aiming to find homes for at least 1,500 Congolese refugees over the next few years. They will be taken in by countries around the world, but mainly by the US. And I'm so inspired by Joel Erasing's story. No matter what your story is or what background you come from, things happen for a reason, and that story makes who you are today. I'd like to help people like Joel Erasing and wish refugees' life can become better. Thank you.